Thank you. I'm so grateful that I been privileged to visit my ancestors' land, because this is the area of Bantu people, not in terms of the demarcated territory by the European as a result of their decision in the Berlin Conference, 1884 and 1885, but in terms of being empire before they arrived. This is the kingdom of all the empire of Ukush that is stretched from the currently country called the Sudan, Nubia at one point in time, and they stretched out to this far, to this very place called the Congo. I thank Akadosh Baruch Hu for having brought me here to learn things, to learn about the things that I used to hear from the elders of my tribe. I've been in many countries to the Southern Africa, and I've been a couple of years in Angola, just south of Kinshasa as we speak now. So, but this is my first time. I have stepped my feet in Kinshasa. That time it was, I mean, the country itself was called the Zaire. Much has been, much is still to be taught in our schools, particularly the history of the Bantu people, not in the manner other nations understood it is, but the way we understood it. I'm saying this just to echo what the first Prime Minister of Congo, Patrice Lumumba, has said. Although I will not quote exactly what he said, I wanted to paraphrase it in my words. The time will come when the history of Africa will be written by themselves, meaning by the African themselves. Then that will be our glory. Yes, probably this is the time in our lifetime, in our generation, that history should by now be written by ourselves. So thus, I wanted to attribute my limut today to the people of the Republic of Congo. Whether they are in diaspora or they are in the Republic of Congo itself, wherever they are, wherever they found themselves. There is something that I have said in one of my presentation in the local radio in Namibia, the country of my birth. The moment people continue to preserve the cultures and they look at themselves through the eyes of those who colonized us, we will not be able to decolonize our mind from our former years' masters. We should redefine ourselves and reclaim our own identity. I'm not talking about violence here. I'm talking about decolonizing our mindset, the mindset that has been used by other nations to exploit us and to take advantage of us, one way or the other. And just merely for natural resources. We have to do that. So I attribute this, my limud, to the inhabitants of this land and those in diaspora. As we know, for those who have been following our limud or limudim, I have introduced to you the letter of Gra. This is not a coincidence that the letter was introduced to our students and to ourselves about Gra, or the letter of Gra was introduced to us, that commensurate or that coincide with our coming. Just a second for me, quickly. That commensurate or coincide to our coming to the Republic of Congo. Gra was one of the Torah sage or sages who sent his students to come to the great continent of Africa in order to learn, for them to learn the tradition, the Jewish tradition that has been preserved by the people of Africa. He was not the only one. As you know, a number of sages, including the Tanaim, have done so before him, before Gra. And exactly before the advent of religions, whatever you name them, or whatever name we know them, our people preserved Torah. Our people preserved their cultural values that are rooted in the Torah. But now we are told that all the cultural values have been labeled, all are labeled, branded with all different type of demeaning descriptions. But when you come to the Torah, you see that to a certain extent, we were outmaneuvered by the civilization that came to this great continent. So take pride, dear friend, take pride in your own culture. And above all, take pride that the Torah has been preserved by us before and after it was given. Now, the pages of on which we are going to learn from are sent in the group. I read it in Hebrew, and thereafter we see what the translation has to offer us. And we add a few things here and there. from the sword. If not, Bezrat Hashem, sometime sword is our backbone of spirituality. The letter of Gra, under the heading Dibur. Dibur is the speech. You remember the Torah in Shemot, and I want you to believe that it's chapter 20. It speaks about Dibur or Diborot, 10 speeches, 10 speeches. What is the significance of speech? Let's see. In English it says, concerning the importance to take care in one's speech. Let's look at the Hebrew first. Ve'akol yavia b'mishpat, al kol dibur, ve'lo nevad, afilu dibur kal, ve'lachen ani mazirech shetargili bechol haoter, leshev yechidit ki chete halashon, al kulo, kema amar חכמנו ז"ל, אלו דברים שאדם אוכל וכולי, ולשון הרע כנגד כולם. And the Masechet, or the source, Gra gave also the source where to find exactly what he quoted here. Tosefta under pair Aleph. The letter goes on. Umali learich bazel haevon hechamud mikol haeverot. The letter continues, quoting Kohelet, as you can see there, Kohelet, chapter 6, and the Pasuk, Zayin, meaning 7, quote, Kol amar Adam lefihu, end of quote. Amru, Chachamenu, Zal, Shekol mitzvotav, Vetorotav, Ishel Adam, Eno, Maspik, Lema, Shemotzi, Mipiv. Again, Gra give a reference to Masechet Chulin, Daf 89. And the quote, Ma umanuto shel Adam ba'olam hazeh yasim atzimo ke'elem וכולי. והדביק שפתותיו כשתי רחיים וכולי. We go on. Let's take another, maybe before we get further. Let's try to see what the translation has to offer us. The translation under the heading concerning the importance to take care in one's speech. Many will be judged for every word he says. Men will be judged for every word he says. Even the slightest expression is not overlooked. Even the slightest expression is not overlooked. Therefore, I caution you to accustom yourself as much as possible to dwell alone, because the sin of a misuse of tongue is the most severe. As our sages of blessed memory said in Tosefet, like we said, the quote, all the source that was provided. These are the things that many enjoy their fruit, etc. And the Lashon Hara is equivalent to them all. I don't have to elaborate on this. Gracias. I don't have to elaborate on this. The most stringent of all sins, quoting the Qolet, all men's toil is for his mouth. Our sage, not sage, but our sages of blessed memory said that all men's mitzvot and the teachings do not suffice to counterbalance what emerges from his mouth. What is a man's vocation in this world? What is man's vocation in this world? He should make himself silent, like a mute, etc. And the one must seal his lips, closed as tight as two milestones. There's a passage that we did not read in Hebrew, but let me try in Hebrew. For us to understand the position of man's responsibility toward his mouth. Because it's not about what you say. We will explain now. We will explain based on Hashem. V'chol okaf hakela'a hakol behevel piv yishel devarim betelim ve'al kol dibur hevel tzarich leitika le'a misof ha'olam ve'ad sofo. Maybe I should maybe I should pause for a while here. Try to understand or to see what the translation is to offer. And in their heavenly punishment known as a sling, short porch, is all centered on the breathy cloud of meaningless word. And for each meaningless word, a person deserves to be slung from one end of the world to the other. The letter, or the passage that we have learned, let's deal with it a little bit. Not a little bit. We deal it with some questions. Everything was created with a word. But when it comes to men, there is one particular thing that the Torah did not explain, but it was explained because everything is a code. It only says, let us make men in our image, in our likeness. But everything, okay, that's not the topic of today. Everything is about the speech. King Shlomo brought in his letter, or in his teaching, he says, a man or a fool who keeps silent is considered as if he is a wise person. In Pirkei Avos, there is a statement that says, Rabbi Akiva, if I'm not mistaken, he finds nothing in this world except the silence. He did not find anything good in this world except the silence. The pages that are before us there, let's look at the page that is taken from Tosefta, pair. Pair. Who could remember as to what that under which order is pair falls? I think Rabbi Shimon has given a number of shiurim during the counting of Omer. The counting of Omer. He brought a number of Masechet, and they connected them because there is no order of a Mishnah that is not connected to a specific Sephirah. Now, the word pair, or that order, when you look at it, in the sequences of the order of the Mishnah, is falling under the order of Zeraim. What is Zerah? Zerah is a seed. Is a seed. What is this seed all about? The seed, it can be even when you speak. When you are just giving a meaningless talk. When I mention about, or when I'm talking about meaningless talk, I'll talk about, for example, gossip, slander. Do you remember? We'll come back to that point to finish the idea. Let's just build it a little bit. Do you remember when Moshe came to Mitzrayim and they delivered the people and they went into Bamidbar, into the desert? His own sister, Miriam, his own brother, Aaron, they spoke. What did they say? Particularly Miriam. What did he say to Moshe? They know that Moshe got married in the kingdom of Cush. And they said, I do not have my Chumash here to say exactly what Miriam said. Is it because of this Cushite woman? What is Cush? Cush is a dark-skinned person. A dark-skinned person. So they spoke. They spoke disrespectful, not only to Moshe, but also, it could be also that they spoke disrespectful about that woman. Remember, she was a queen. She was a queen. The fact that they spoke to Moshe is because, just a second. The fact that they spoke to Moshe, it was not just Moshe himself. It's because of something or somebody associated to Moshe. That's how, to a certain extent, because our sages say it's also a dust of Lashon Hara. Dust of Lashon Hara, evil tongue. So they spoke, and there was a punishment thereafter. There was a punishment because there was a sermon made. A subpoena was also issued. You come to the tent, 3 of you come to the tent, and I speak. So Zerah is not, Zerah is a seed, we know. But speaking useless and a meaningless word, it is tantamount to speeding, not speeding, but what is this English word? Now, English word is failing me. It's something like Zera Levatala, speaking, building the seed in vain. In the world today, and I have to say this because it's Torah. It says during the Mabul, the generation of the Mabul, they had the multiple of wives. And the purpose of those extra, there's nothing wrong with having many wives, provided that it's not out of pleasure. It's about for Kedusha, the holiness. That is Torah. That is Torah. That generation had so many wives, and that appetite for pleasure was extended, or they have extended it to the animals. So they would also have a relationship with animals. That in itself is spreading the seed for nothing. Taking the seed out for nothing. Because the seed is only meant to be the conduit for the souls in upper world to come to this world. Maybe some of those souls belong to your ancestors that should return to this life in order to continue the work of Akadosh Baruch Hu, in order to bring peace to this world, in order to refine this world Tikkun Olam. But if you put it into animal, if it is just out of pleasure, it is as if you have wasted the seed. Not if you have wasted the seed. We know that our world today, with so much confusion, they talk about what is this called in English again? Protections. When it comes to the relationship, protection is not about that thing that you use in a relationship. Protection is about your attitude in life. My attitude in life. Do I have got a limitation to anything, whether it's called good or not? Whether that is permitted or forbidden? Do I put myself under certain limitations? If I do not have the character trait of being limited, even in what is permitted, then unfortunate, then I will be swayed, I will be subsumed, I will be overcome by the desire for pleasure. And the most difficult thing to tame is the pleasure of talking. There are many of us that it's not possible to spend 2 minutes without talking. I must talk. But what do you talk about? Either you talk other people's family, or you talk about your own family, whether this is your wife, or this is your husband, or this is your children, or the other people's children, whether you talk about the ruler, in the manner that you see it fit for you. In most cases, whenever we talk about, for example, rulers, you talk about from their upbringing, their parents, in order for you apparently to make a point. In a Jewish law, there is a law guarding your tongue. It's in Tehillim. I wanted to believe it's 34, Tehillim 34. Read it in that Tehillim. And I wanted to believe it's Pasuk, verse 14. Many of us, we do not truly learn to understand this journey called life in this world. What do? When it comes to our rulers, our leaders, you only focused on the negative, not the opposite. The worst part of it is when you talk about this ruler from birth. How lazy probably he was, how crazy he was, how incompetent he was at school, That is the center, much more the center of our talking when somebody is finding his destination in life, his arrival in life, his station in life. We talk too much about them. The Jewish law says, even if this person has done good in life, whether he was a very, very competent and a very good, meaning a smart person, generous person, should not be the emphasis in public. Why? The halakha says there are times when when you say giving too much, what is this? Too much credential or whatever it is called, credential to people. When you praising somebody, that's the right word I was looking for. When you praise somebody so much, even if it's not that too much, but very often. Number one, at a certain level, you are even bringing those upper world to look at that very particular person with a critical attention, to the point that they will scrutinize every record of him. Is he truly deserve what people said in that world or not? And when it comes to men, if you put much more emphasis on praising them, or him or her, you will bring somebody or among the audiences, or the audience. There is one probably, or they might be one, who knew this person's ancestor or parents. And that they may, in life, the Kohelet that is quoted here, it says, no one without sin in this world. You have no man without sin. We fall and then we rise again. And in this journey, there is always a falling, and there is always a rising up. If there is one who happened to know the fall of the ancestors or the parents of the one you are praising, you are causing them to bring those falling into public. In other words, you bring somebody's parents, ancestors to be spoken disrespectfully. In a Jewish law, we are so careful when we praise somebody. That's why here the Gra quoting all bring us to different sources is to prove the point. Be careful about your speech. I must be careful about my speech. To make matter worse is when you and I sit and we gossip, slander, become tale bearers of others, calling the others names. In politics, it's common. Very, 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 very much common. You find the politicians in their competition for public office. They speak so desperately about others. If a person can speak so much better about his adversary for public office, rest be assured that this is not a person that you should be rally after, because he lacks the basic acceptable human character traits. He lacks it. Our Torah does not encourage anybody to speak to speak bad about a king, but also those on power should not speak about, or should not speak bad about those they rule, all the other their opponents. And when I use the word opponent, I do not mean in a negative light. It's not. The other fellow contenders to public office have got the same equal right as anybody else. So do not demean them. Do not go around and say, well, I know him. I used to even to beat him at school. I know him. Look at you. Look at where he was born. There are some countries, as I used to say, there are some countries, if you do not speak the official language that those official language imposed on us, they look to you as an inferior, which is the opposite. Inferior is you, because you have traded yourself in the name of honor. You have traded yourself to other cultural system that was only meant for them. That was only meant for them, not for you. You have got your own culture, which is your own identity. Preserve it. Let's go to, I've got a few minutes before I sign off. It says, therefore I caution you to accustom yourself as much as possible to dwell alone. To dwell alone, does it mean I should not among other people? No. No. It's the other way around. You should be among the people, but you should know your class. You must know your class. Because you know, they say there is a phrase that they use, but it's a Jewish phrase. I just forgot it in Hebrew exactly, but that's what I shall. It says, absolute power corrupts absolutely. My rabbi is here. The Republic of Congo. You know, when you wanted to see the foolishness of man, and I will qualify that word, give him power. Give him, whether this power is in form of wealth, give him education, what they call education. Give him anything that, like for example, we have got this thing called freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You think that the freedom of speech is just to say what you want. No. The fact you took it that way, that's exactly what they wanted you to be. So if you give somebody certain level of power, then you will see that the person is foolishness. How so? Because this proves to us that from the very beginning, a person was not really trained. And that this is the mission of Botsina Kadisha. Everywhere in the world is to groom, is to train, is to teach, is to educate the future generation, whether they will find themselves in a different area and different fields of occupations in life. Politician, whatever, scientists, as they call them, educators, whether civil or not, they should have certain level of a proper conduct in wherever situation they might find themselves. If this is not the case, then you will see, and we do see it in life. Somebody called me from the country of my birth, and they said to me, people are waiting for you. They want to see you. But someone says, is it not that man that we know was born by so? That in itself is also a dust of evil tongue. Yes, there is a difference between a humble beginning. A humble beginning can be either the family is worth of, well-to-do, but people are they brought up their children accordingly, properly, disciplined children. But there is a humble beginning that can be seen through poverty. Even in that poverty, people are so humble. They are content or contented with what they have. But there are people who see that poverty as a weakness, as failure. It's not. The Torah tells us that every year, meaning the Jewish year, Rosh Hashanah, heaven seals, heaven decides which one will be born in this world, and which soul will be recalled from this world. Will this one be poor in the coming year, or will he be rich? Everything, according to the Mishnah, everything is decided on Rosh Hashanah. The only thing that is not decided before, only in Rosh Hashanah, is how you behave. Meaning, righteous or not righteous. That is only the thing, the aspect that is not decided for you before the heavenly court. But everything else is decided. So, I am going almost to the end. Let's add a few things here. So, the Zera, meaning the pair that is being mentioned here, not mentioned, but made reference of, Tosefta's pair is falling under the Seder Zera or Zeira, which has got to do with the seed. Meaning, when you speak, you are releasing the seed. And if it is for nothing, heaven considered as having like somebody who use the so-called protective during the Yehud, or taking a multitude of wives for pleasure, or going out with, all having a relationship with an animal. You are considered in the same category. Do not waste the seed. Do not waste your seed in meaningless talk. It has got a very huge repercussion. The last quote, we are going to continue with this B'ezrat Hashem next time. It's a very long thing. In the last pasuk, as you could, all of reference made here, as you could see in the page, is Kohelet. Kohelet, Perek Vav, meaning chapter 6. Pasuk Zayin, meaning verse 7. It says here, all your work in this world, your work in this world, my work in this world, everyone, every human being's work in this world is for your mouth. I used to understand, probably there are many people who are in the same category as I was before. There are many people who interpret this and without a Masoret, whether they are Jews or not Jews. It becomes even worse when a Jew interprets the way I was interpreting before my conversion. The way I used to understood this pasuk, meaning verse, is that I labor and whatever I accumulate is just for food to eat my mouth, which is not the case. Here it speaks something different. It says, as you could see there, the whole journey of your life is to work in order to put limitation, to improve the way you speak. Be careful about your mouth. The commotions, the strife, the conflict we have in our world, the world of men, is because of the mouth. We are not careful what we are saying. Do not underrate that this is just in a private. Do not underrate that this, either conversation between the two of you, is not heard. No one hears it. It says even the walls have got ears. That expression is not from Umat Olam, it's not from the world of nations, or the nations. It's Torah based. Why? Because just as there is a halacha by Ben Shchai, do not change your clothes in the room where there are Torah books. Don't. Why? Because it's disrespectful. Oh no, these are just books. Yes. Apart from the books that you see, there are beings that you don't see. They are in the walls. They are in the church. They are everywhere. They do see. And when they see you, they will say, look at this fool. He undressed himself or herself in front of the kings of kings, embedded in those letters of the Torah, in these books. How disrespectful is this person? Thus, even those beings can become problematic. How? Because they will accuse you one day. Let's come to the end of our limud. It's not about what you say only. It's about what is being heard from you. Be careful. It's not about you making a joke or you think you are joking. Even if it is a joke, be careful the nature of that joke. It may be taken very serious by other person, or it may be a demeaning one. A demeaning one, just like we have said at the very beginning. Last but not least, it says, and that the entire heavenly punishment is known as sling, short punch, is all centered on the breath cloud of meaningless words. And therefore, Each meaningless word, a person is deserved to be slung from one end of the world to the other. What does that mean? I just forgot exactly, but I wanted to believe in one of these books of Shemuel, the book 1 or the book 2 of Shemuel. What is it this book says? I just forgot the details, but let me just give you a bit what I can remember. It says, and what is being taught in this very pasuk, not in pasuk, this very statement by the Gra. You know, the Reshaim, the Reshaim are the evil ones. You remember, particularly the limud of my Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Pinchas, who introduced us to the world of Kafekela. The world of Kafekela, we think it is not in the Torah. It is in the Torah. At the very, very beginning of Torah, in the Bereshit, is there. You remember that it was commanded of Adam to eat from every tree. Yes, that is the world of Kafekela. Because what is the purpose of eating? We know from the tradition that we are teaching, we have received from our masters. Eating is not what you think it is. It has different connotation, of course, but eating is not the putting the food in your mouth, chewing and swallowing it and being digested. That's not eating. Eating according to the Torah is making yichud. When you speak to somebody, at that very moment you are making a yichud with somebody. So therefore, that's why it is very, very crucial important in the Jewish world that men should not converse too long with another man's wife, because it's considered as making yichud with her. It's considered. So the sages said, do not even converse too long with your own wife, because that is also, yichud. So what is the point? Why am I bringing this to us?
Oscar, give it all.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Why am I bringing this? Because there is a repercussion when it's for a soul, for a human being who does that. How so? The world of Kafekela is when a soul, a wicked person, his soul is sent to this world, and the sent not in a physical body like my body, like your body, but in the body of either of an animal, is attached there. All is in the body of like a water, like a fruit, like trees, like vegetables. Is trapped there. This is exactly what is being referred to here by Gra. That your soul, when you accustom yourself to being a Torah bearer, to be a slanderer of another person, speaking for nothing, speaking meaningless words, you are brought at the end of your lifetime. God forbid, I'm not referring to you, but if you fall into that category of speaking just for sake of speaking, it's unfortunate. You may fall into this category, God forbid. So, the word of Kafekela is for the Rashaim who did not heed or did not or fail to listen to the Torah, and they end up speaking. Particularly, people have got tendencies of argument. Argument on things that you probably do not have any knowledge of it. I like it. In politics is common, in religion is common, in business is common. We think that little I know, that is all there is. I used to say, and I said it again, and I keep on saying it again and again. Like, for example, we black people, there is a tendency among ourselves, because of the so-called education we have received by our colonial masters, that only once you speak, that is considered right. And if I come into, for example, in a justice court, anything that a black person says is questionable, is put on a scale. But everything that a white person, for example, this is not about racial discrimination. It's about the fact. We live these conditions. We were brought into these conditions. We grow up in those systems. Everything that a white person says, you find the blacks are always nodding in agreement. In agreement what the others are saying. Even if it is totally a lie. Or it's 99% a lie. Dear friend, that perception has to change. That character trait has to change for better. Because if not, one may fall into this category of your soul being slinged from one end of the world to another. And you don't like that. Because we are not only speaking about things that we imagine. It thinks of the Torah. Do not think that there are no souls that could testify the validity of the Torah. There are. Even those who follow a man called Jesus. Even those people who follow a man called Jesus was a Jew. There are souls who can testify, and who testified in the generation past, that where he is in the Gehinnom, he confessed about his wronging. He did teshuvah, meaning repentance, from what he did in his lifetime. And then he said, do not touch the Jewish people. Yes. Many of you think that because you have got multitude of audience listening to you, and we Jewish people are very few. Only in your country is only one Jew. Much more, he is not being listened to. People are not paying attention just because he's one. And then they start even mocking him. Be careful. Don't speak. Don't speak against a Jew. don't speak about the Jewish people, against the Jewish people. If it is so, Kal vachomer, a Jew must be careful when you speak about the non-Jew. Be careful, because they are also creation of God, the same God. I'm saying the same God. Not from their perspective, but from my perspective as a Jew. A Torah teacher for that matter. Be careful. So, your soul, Chash v'Shalom, will be slinged from one end of the world to another. Meaning, you will go through Gilgulim, meaning if your soul was in the water, you cannot simply just jump. Yes, there is a possibility. There are made possibilities to jump. Or they may be in the vegetable. Yes, you may be jump, maybe not. But through the Girigulim, it may be in the water today, but in some 100 years it will be, only 50 years. It may be in a vegetable. It may be in a fruit. It may be in an animal, the animal that I eat, and the recite a bracha, to enable you to enable me to elevate the soul of a wicked person who was a victim of Lashon Hara. So, dear friend, I wanted to enter my limud here because this is exactly the time allocated for me, or allotted to me. And the best of Hashem, we will continue. And I wanted to leave with this remark at the end of my limud. Please go through all the pages that I have sent, or that were sent in the group. We will continue with the same theme of evil tongue, speaking badly about others. We will continue. But I wanted to end with these few remarks. And again, it's about Congo. And it's about your own identity, not only as a Congolese, but as an African. Your identity is an African. Do not sell that. Do not sell that out. Becomes a problematic because it affects your spiritual DNA. It affects your descendants. I'm speaking from the Torah perspective, not out of trying to be good to I'm not impressing anybody. I do not want it to fake. I don't fake the reality. Your descendant may be affected by the action that you make now. Here in Congo, as I said, I attribute my limud today to the people of Congo. The history tells us that millions, or 10 millions, if I'm not mistaken, 10 millions perished in the name of a simple thing called the silver and gold. Nations decimated a race of a people in the name of gold and silver. Did it end there? No. many people were amputated, not only killed. Yes, killed, because when you amputate somebody's, cutting his hands or her hands, children and young and older, all old people, you have killed somebody. Not only physically, but spiritually too. But did it end there? It did not end there. It continues. But it continues in a different form. And I'm giving it a very, very strong emphasis here. I lived a number of years in Angola. And I see the modern state according to what the European wanted us to be. And we are even making a competition among ourselves according to what they want us to do. We invade Congo in the name of silver and gold. We invade Congo. We made the people of Congo suffer in the name of silver and gold and diamond. We care nothing about them. Little you know that is the beginning of our civilization, the kingdom of Kush. But you, exactly like Gra started with his letter, many journey to look for or to search for fortune. An African should not just come to Congo for seeking wealth. No, it should not be like that. We should be able to visit any community of people in Africa for solidarity. For solidarity. Not only the solidarity among the rulers themselves, because they should represent their own people, their own communities. The condition of Congo is also worsened by African state, modern state. Why? Because they are perpetuating the colonial masters, the former colonial masters' legacies, and they preserve the status quo. It's an unfortunate condition. It's an unfortunate reality. But the Torah put emphasis when it comes to tzedakah. It falls into 3 stages, if I'm not mistaken. Give it tzedakah to those who are close next to you, then to your neighbor because he's close to you. Did we really try to solve the problem of our own states? Or to solve the problem of our sister states? No, except by sidelining them, xenophobia, at all rates, your own African, your own brothers. The true spirit of Ubuntu is gone among us. And there is just merely out of slice of bread that is given in France or Washington or Great Britain or Russia. It's merely out of that. You know, in this remark, I have said at the very beginning, quoting what Lumumba said, even though I have used my own words. Patrice Lumumba, the time has come for us to write our own history from our own perspective. from our own feelings, from our own understanding of this journey called life, our own reality. Public office should not be occupied by somebody who did not meet the basic etiquette of human understanding. Public office, because they are ready. They are ready at any time to sell the piece of land of his own ancestors in the name of that slice of bread. I'm not demeaning. It's the reality that we have lived. It's the reality that we have lived. I give an example of what I'm saying to substantiate what I am saying. We have got a man called, who was called one of the young men of the time, of the generation, Thomas Sankara. Those who were tools to get rid of him, what did they do? They even rejected and refused that his statute should not be erected. Your own brother says that. It's easy. Yes. There is much to say, but limited time. My Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Pinchas Eliyahu Shaddai, he is a son of Congo, the son of the soil of Congo. He was born in Congo. He's a convert like myself. He did not leave his own native country just because out of pleasure. It was out of hardship, persecution, and a strife that was going on in the Republic of Congo. That started long ago. That started long ago. He is, and he will be. He is, and he will be. He is one of the presidential candidates in the Republic of Congo. He will be the president of the Republic of Congo. Only a man of Torah, only a man of Torah, I emphasize that, who understand the Torah, the Torah, not the Torah, my apology, my dialect have got no R. Only a person of Torah understand the Torah at all 4 levels of Torah would be able to lead a city, to lead a community, to lead a country of multiracial society. Only a person of that caliber understand the nature of man, the nature of a community, the nature of any family, not from the physical or from the external aspect, but from their spiritual DNA. One of my sons at Facebook, I will not mention his name, and I've got a reason why I do not want to mention his name, and I believe he's listening now. One of my sons said or commented on an incident that happened, a fatal incident that happened in the capital city of Namibia. 2 police officers were quarreling. One had a gun and the one did not have. The one with a gun, out of the heat of the argument, he took a gun and discharged his gun over his fellow. Not a fellow police officer, but his fellow human being. Out of argument. Pooh. The life of the other police officer is a history. My condolences to his family. Why am I bringing my son's contribution to what he says? And my son says, among others, some police officers think that their power is in the gun in their possessions. I wanted to contribute, but I reserved it. It's not about what you have. It's about the character trait, to refine your character. And one of the refinement, not one of the refinement, but the refinement of one of the character is to avoid argument. It's to avoid the argument. Not only to avoid argument, and before I conclude with that, let me go to what brought me there. From the Torah perspective, the Torah says, whoever shed one man's blood, his blood shall be shed by another man. It's a long sugya, what it means, because a number of deaths that a certain person was killed by another, from the Torah perspective, at a different level, at a sword level, the secret of the Torah, we do not only look at that physical death, we look at how he was. The deceased, we look at how he was in a previous life. Because it is not possible that a person could be killed without anything, without something, not anything, but without something related to his killing now. There must be something he has done in his past life that has got a relationship to what is happening to him now. I'm not saying this is that is an application to everything. No, I'm not saying. So it's only a man of Torah who understand from the spiritual root of somebody. Not only from a Jew perspective, but a man of Torah can also understand your root as a non-Jew. As a non-Jew, We know exactly where the 9 Jews come from. And we know exactly how they came into being. We know exactly how they live in the world. We know. For us, it's not assumption. It's not about Greek philosophy. No, it's the Torah. We look at the Torah. When the Torah tells a Jew that we have to learn, study Torah day and night, we should not cease from studying the Torah. It's for that reason. It's for that reason. My dear friends, I wanted to to enter my limud here. Is there any question before I sign off? If there is no question,
Shalom, shalom, Harav.
shalom, shalom, Rabbi Eliyahu.
Yeah, the question is that I want to ask, just as what you said about, I know it was part of a verse that said it, that he saw a skull floating on the water, and he told him, as you killed someone, that is why somebody killed you, and the person that killed you, another person will kill him as well. That is how it is explained. Does it mean that whatever action one, as in one, anything that one suffers in this life, means that there is that person must have committed something that warranted that, maybe in this life or before this life? Is that what it means?
Yes, that's exactly yes. Because to illustrate what you have said and what you quoted, what is the purpose of this journey? We know it's the world of tikkun, right? The soul comes back to this life to continue where the soul has left off in a previous life. And the purpose of returning is to repair, is to fix what one has done. We remember that we were studying the letter of Ramban previously. A month ago, we were learning from the letter of Ramban. One of the lessons that we have learned in the letter of Ramban, we added some thought here and there to enable us to understand, is that our life here, each one's life is to correct, is to fix the previous mistake. In other words, when you find somebody who is, for example, his child is stealing in the Beit Knesset or elsewhere, remember that that child is not the child that you see. He used to do it in a previous life. You cannot do any other thing in this life. If you were, for example, there are many sages who came, or the sages, or the Chazal, there are opinions that says a person who used to see blood, or a person who is a sechita, who is slaughtering, who learns sechita, rest be assured that in his lifetime, and in previous life, this person used to see blood. So in order for him to rectify and to fix that midot of seeing blood, he learns the sechita. That's opinion. That's another opinion to look at life. So you cannot come here if you were if your failure was, for example, in taming your tongue, you cannot simply come to fix something else apart from the thing that you failed to fix in your previous life. I give an example, and I wanted to, whether I understand it or I don't understand it, I just wanted to give it. Rabbi Nachman, because it's where I got this. Rabbi Nachman brought a teaching and said, every person that you see, every left-handed person that you see in his lifetime, he was a liar. Whatever it means, I don't know. And I took it that way. And I do not go and judge somebody because he's left-handed. That, well, he was a liar. And he went on even to say that those who are in a uniform, particularly the police officers, in their previous life, they were thieves. There are some countries who recruit thieves in their police forces. Because only a thief understands the mind of another thief. But if you were not, it would be difficult for you. Well, I do not want it to go a little bit deeper than it says, because Rabbi Pinchas gave us a shiur about mamzer one day. He gave us, okay, maybe I should reserve it for another time. Yes, Rabbi Eliyahu, yes, you will come for the specific things that we have failed to do in your previous life, in order to fix it. People talk about going into heaven and going to heaven. There are opinions that there's nothing to fix in heaven. What is there to be fixed? The whole thing is here. The whole thing, the whole thing is here. This is where the Torah was reduced to come to. This is where our work, our job is required. Leave about other spiritual worlds. They have got the Torah is also there in the aspect of that specific world. But us here, we need to do the job. If the Torah says our job is for our mouth. That means we have to apply every possible means and ways to make sure that we tame this thing called mouth. Remember the word pay. Pay, when you look at the word pay, there is halakha, or the laws that governs the word pay. The corner of your field. What is the corner of your field? The corner of your field, it's a limitation. It says once you surrender, for example, once you surrender, your entire field is no longer falling under the category of pay. And then remember the word pay here in a Tosefta, it's only spelled with 3 letters. Pe, Aleph, Hey. And then remember, there is the first letter. The first letter, we don't have a board. I don't have a board now to illustrate what I wanted to say. The first letter is Pe. But there are 3 ways of writing Pe. Either you write it pay aleph, or we are writing it pay yud, or pay with hey. Each of these denote the concept of limitation. If it is a corner of your field, it's a limitation. If we do not have the limitation in our speaking and about what we speak about, then we will be in problem. Chas Shalom. The Torah in Chulin, there's a question raised by one of the Amorah. What about in the word of Torah? Should I not speak? Since it says in prayer, in the Tosefta prayer, it says, mute is the best. Okay, the best is my own word. Mute, silent. So should I be silent? Because I'm now speaking about Torah. Should I be silent just looking at you? You're looking at me through this visual thing? No. Your mouth was only meant to speak the word of Kedusha. And anything related to that. Apart from that, Zerayo Batara. Sadikim Tzadakot, thank you very much. Is there another question?
Toda Harav, Toda.
Bebe Kasha Tzadik. Hope to join you, Bezat Hashem, tomorrow. Bezat Hashem. Thank you very much for affording me this time to learn with you, to share with you from the Republic of Congo, the capital city, Kinshasa. Hope to join you or to see you again tomorrow. Bezat Hashem. Thank you very much. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve amen.
Amen, 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 amen. Yeah, we people are welcome back to Africa.
Tzadik, next time is in your country.
Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem.
Bezrat Hashem, next time is in your country. Yeah, Baruch Hashem.